Good afternoon. Thank you for having us. I wanted to read a story today, if that's okay with you. The story is called The Affirmation Weaver. Does anybody know what that word means? It's a big word. It means something that's confirmed to you, okay? So this is a story about a young dolphin who sat at the bottom of the ocean, and a hermit crab was weaving a beautiful web made of strands of seaweed. The hermit crab was known for all the creatures of the ocean as the affirmation weaver. He was a crab of very few words, but his intricate web brought joy to anyone that took a moment to sit still and enjoy the beauty. The dolphin was watching the hermit crab weave his web, and it was very beautiful, but he really wasn't paying attention. He was pouting and feeling very sorry for himself. He felt discouraged and sad. A sea child that had been watching the dolphin decided to ask him a question. Why aren't you playing and jumping in the waves with all of your dolphin friends? The dolphin told the sea child that he didn't jump as high as the other dolphins. He didn't think that he was smart enough to learn all the fun jumps and tricks that all the other dolphins knew how to do. The dolphin didn't feel very good about himself, and he didn't really believe in himself. The sea child held the dolphin's fins and looked into his eyes. He said, "My friends and I feel happy inside. We have a smile we can't hide. We say nice things while we laugh and play. We want to show you how to feel this way." Does anybody ever feel sad inside sometimes? Does anybody ever feel happy inside? The hermit crab heard the dolphin and knew it was time to weave a different kind of web. A big flounder came up and shook off the sand off of her head, and she placed herself near the dolphin and said, "Well, I like myself." And with that, the hermit crab scurried over to the flounder, leaving behind a shiny strand of sea web that he was weaving. A big blowfish. Does anyone know what kind of fish that is? It's the one that blows up real big. He hovered over to the group and he placed himself near the flounder and said, "Well, I feel like I'm a gift to the world." And with that, the hermit crab scurried over to the blowfish, leaving behind another strand of seaweed. And then a starfish crawled over to the group. She placed herself near the blowfish and said, "Well, I feel I'm creative." And with that, the hermit crab scurried over to the starfish, leaving another tiny strand of seaweed. A jellyfish came floating by, and he sat next to the blowfish and said, "Well, I believe in myself." And with that, the hermit crab scurried over to the jellyfish, leaving behind another tiny strand of seaweed. I feel like he's giving everybody a little bit of seaweed. A snail slid slowly over to the group with her head kind of down. She placed herself near the jellyfish and said, "I learn easily, and I feel like I'm smart." And with that, the hermit crab scurried over to the snail, leaving behind another tiny strand of seaweed. Then a big lobster comes out from his dark cave, and he placed himself near the snail and said, "Well, I'm strong, and I feel happy." And with that, the hermit crab scurried over to the lobster and gave him another small strand of seaweed. And then a nice, beautiful seahorse entered into the group. And she sat next to the lobster and said, "Well, I'm full of life and happy." And with that, the hermit crab scurried over to the seahorse, giving her a strand of seaweed. Next, a clam came out from under the ground, placed himself across near where the seahorse was, and said, "I feel like I can accomplish anything I put my mind to." And with that, the hermit crab scurried over to the clam and gave him a tiny strand of seaweed. An angelfish, beautiful, placed herself near the clam and said, "I feel like I'm beautiful, but I love myself, even when I don't feel beautiful." And with that, the hermit crab scurried over and gave her a beautiful but small piece of the web. The sea child and the dolphin and all the sea friends closed their eyes for a moment with this great, beautiful web that now was weaved between all of them, with all of their qualities. And they imagined that they could absorb all of the wonderful words that each and every one of them had said. And they imagined what it would feel like if they could all have the positive words of each other in their hearts and minds. And together they thought, well, we all are creative. We all need to believe in ourselves. We love ourselves. We're happy. Even when we're sad, we still love ourselves. We're full of life. Each and every friend that day remembered that they were a gift to the world and to each other. So they said that we can do it. The sea child spoke to the dolphin again and said, see, now you're happy. You have a smile that you cannot hide. Remember when you're down to say things that are true about yourself. This affirmation will help you feel this way. And with that, the dolphin swam straight up to the top of the ocean. He said, I can do it. I am happy, and I love myself for who I am. And he jumped so high over a big wave and landed with a double twist and a splash. And all of his friends were really impressed. He smiled upon his friends in the wonderful web that the sea hermit had made. He said, I love the self the way that I am, and I can do anything that I believe I can. My positive thoughts will help me to feel better, just the way that I know that I should. And with that, the hermit crab remembered why he was called the sea weaver. Who here sometimes feel upset and sad? Who at times thinks that they're not good enough? But remember, it doesn't matter how you feel. You're special. Each and every one of you are important to each other, to your friends, to your family, to your church, to God. Who are you more special to? Who has made a web of affirmation for you? And all of us individually. That's right. So, thank you for having us.